This is Damien Giurco. He is not wearing his hat as conference chair in this panel or as co-organizer, but he is also doing some real work, and he is going to speak about his action plan for the circular economy now.
Thanks very much, Buzz, and good morning. So, hands up those of you who were here yesterday to hear the keynote sessions. And hands up those of you, keep your hands up hopefully, who enjoyed the video from Janet Salem on resource productivity across the Asia and the Pacific. So for those who are just joining today, a quick thing to do at morning tea or lunch would be get onto unep.org and see great 5-6 minute video outlining really the differences in how much resource, water and energy goes into each dollar of activity across the Asia Pacific. Now what this says to me is that globally this is an important area of focus, and my talk today in launching this action agenda for resource productivity and innovation is to say, how does Australia usefully find opportunities in this future world? Opportunities at home, but importantly, opportunities to work with others in the region to bring about improvements in resource productivity in the region, which I think is an important issue whose time is really just coming to the fore. So, some snapshot statistics here. You can have copies of this on your table, so I won't read through the fine print. But some old figures here have got, not that old, but just not today's, have got a figure of $1 trillion a year available of economic opportunity in the circular economy. And I won't steal his thunder, but a colleague at the Australian National University, Mike Smith, is going to be launching a trifecta of reports with some more recent data here that could put a 0 and more onto this figure at the end of the lunch break, just in the seminar room next door to it where the art is exhibited. So I'd encourage you to also go along there and hear really what is some compelling evidence and further detail around the opportunity just about 15 minutes before the end of lunch. And what I think this brings us to in particular in Australia is a focus on responsible prosperity. And for me that begins individually, as communities, as a nation. I won't say we've blown the boom completely, but I do think we have put insufficient attention on how we use the proceeds of those high iron ore and coal prices to underpin lasting prosperity in future. And I think what can help us bring focus to where we need to head and really reiterates the point that Ryan had made. The circular economy it's a topic on the agenda in Europe, in legislation in China. The world is really moving in this direction, and Australia, I think, needs to find our seat at this table of opportunity. So, to begin with, of the 4 themes that we're promoting here, the first is to replenish stocks and rethink value. Now that means not only stocks of forests that may have been degraded or clean water in our oceans, but stocks of trust in the way we go about working together for longer term prosperity. We heard last night at the conference dinner this digital wave which is upon us, and the companies which might prosper, thinking back to the horse and the car and the trajectory of innovation that one is on. So in a digital age, we'll need to think about which stocks on the stock market are going to lead us towards a helpful future, and which of those companies take a view of value beyond economic that we could feel proud that our grandchildren might think was a responsible view of value. So replenishing stocks and rethinking value. So this is really the umbrella for having a sense of, if we've got priorities, are they going to be in the right direction? Some quick wins I think we can refer to here is this idea of establishing national environmental accounts advocated by that Wentworth group of environmental scientists to assess the health of our stock, but also waste accounts. The ABS did a great trial waste account because really wastes are resources, but that has, through funding cuts, been not continued. So re-putting that on the agenda is also important. Currently, Australia's energy white paper has energy productivity targets, and there'll be a workshop picking up on that theme also here today, but coupling resource and energy productivity opportunities I think is going to be critical. The second focuses on design and on renewable energy and resource cycles. So this is saying renewable energy is coming. How can we couple on and to that revolution other useful opportunities? Whether that's, as we've heard from Christine, coupling mining operations to renewable energy and in effect exporting Australian sunshine internationally in our commodity exports. How can we think about reverse logistics? This was something that came up with James Moody's talk in his company of Sendle, and getting people products in new ways, and how do we get them back as well. And the final point makes me think of resource cycles and indeed thinking about this systems view, the stewardship view, and even groups like the Steel Stewardship Forum who are here today saying, how can we understand the perspectives of each player in the supply chain to look for systems innovation? And, and that goes to the point of Marcus about, do we aim for simplicity for recyclability and reuse? To what extent do we aim for complexity? And I think in future perhaps we'll need to justify that complexity has merit more rigorously. Hands up those who enjoyed Vivid last night. Excellent. So similarly, disruptive innovation I think is coming, and it needs to be harnessed carefully, I would say, for what I'm calling production and consumption 2.0. Now that means not only disruptive, but digital, could mean decentralised, and the byline here is done well. But this points to Marcus's point, similarly, is done thoughtfully, that it's something where we use technology in a way that's consistent with One Planet living, with maintaining stocks of resources that we value, because technology, I think, also has the potential to take us on a rapid trajectory towards a future where that may or may not necessarily be at the heart. And for us, and what I hope this document can do to help start conversations, is saying, where is Australia's niche? And perhaps we can draw this out a little bit further in the panel, not only through thinking about new manufacturing at this intersection of digital in a world of resource constraints, but the role of new business models as well. Finally, and for me quite excitingly, we need to leverage know-how into networks and new markets. So, just to connect with the panellists here, one that comes to mind here is that innovation platform which Ostmine have outlined for the mining and resources sector. How might that come to apply as we think of professionalisation and automation and new futures in the waste sector? Similarly, could there be a further opportunity for Ostmine, even to the companies there, to think of what opportunities are in urban mining, in waste as resources? We've heard Marcus say the Ototech technology was built, designed, thought through, brought up to global standing in Australia. Imagine if we can do similarly with the knowledge we have and the experience we have about resources, to use that know-how to conquer the e-waste tsunami that's currently washing across the world globally. So that is saying there we've really got 50 billion of resources available and rising. These are some thought starters for points of connection to go forward across policy, business, research, education and collaboration, a theme that's come up also from Stan today. So I'll leave you to read the document in more detail, but certainly resource productivity in secondary markets, a focus on design, sufficiency, new modes of consumption are all important. At the heart of this work has been a project on wealth from waste, and many wealth from waste cluster researchers are here, and wish to draw attention to it really as an example of demonstrating the case for metals about what the size of the opportunity is, the barriers, and how future business models could play into a transition. I think demonstrating the potential for circular economy with the case of metals opens up future opportunities in other streams of materials cycling and efficiency. Also like to acknowledge our members of our reference panel who are here with us today from Europe, Marcus and Dick van Beers from the Centre for Sustainable Consumption and Production, Keske Nansai from the National Institute of Environmental Studies, and Jeroen Roos, John Gertsakis, Rose Reed, and hopefully no one else I've forgotten if that was 6. But it's great to have connection to having this work applied. Comment from dinner came out last night that it's great that we're assembled here, but are we in part preaching to the converted? And so my question for you here is to say, who will you equip for action in the circular economy? This was Bass's opening line. Say you need to know and to want to change. So the homework, the take-home challenge is for next week to have one detailed, serious, coffee-length conversation with perhaps someone who's unconverted and introduce this topic of resource productivity. And if they need a little bit more excitement, go to the UNEP website and show them the video. I think it's very compelling and hopefully can help us bring forth a stronger profile to this important issue, not only as one that's important for the environment, but certainly for economic opportunity and for a better future. Thank you. I'll conclude there and look forward to some further discussion in the panel.